All right, Rob, we start off the show talking about the Nick Saban situation. He went at Jimbo Fisher, the coach at Texas A&M, a former assistant for Saban, saying that basically they bought all their players. They have the number one recruiting class in the country. He went after Deion Sanders, a guy he's made commercials with and supposedly has a friendly relationship with. And Rob, Deion said it, and we said it even before Deion. Nick Saban was playing to the crowd. Nick Saban was talking to a group of boosters and businessmen that could pour money into the Alabama program. And for him to say, yeah, this year, we held on with the second number 2 recruiting class, but I don't know how much longer that can continue.
We're sinking. Hello, right. Is this on? Help us. Help us. We're drowning. We need money.
Absolutely. That's what it was. And he wasn't afraid to throw some guys he knows under the bus. But today he came back and apologized. That was the strange part,
Chris. That really was, knowing where we are in society and that people record everything. Nothing is private. This is not the old days where there's not a reporter in the room, so no one's going to pick up the phone and call or tell somebody. Like those days used to happen.
Yep, no doubt. And so Deion responded, calling him out, basically saying, yeah, he was just trying to get guys to, pour more money into his program. Rob, why do you think, is it as simple with these coaches, and Saban's just one of them, but is it as simple as they are afraid of the competition or of parity? Or do you think, because a lot of the money that's poured into these programs that they put into the coach's salary, that they put into the facilities that are top notch, unbelievable facilities at these top programs, a lot of that money, if not most of it, comes from these boosters. They get TV money and stuff like that too, but a lot of it comes from boosters. Do you think they're just worried or afraid that, hey, now some of that booster money is going to be split? And maybe not split 50-50, but a lot of that was going to them in the program is now going to be going to the players. You think that's any part of this?
I do. I think that this is new for them. I think you're seeing, Chris, some of the old guard coaches going to probably start getting out because this is all new, right?
Yeah, they're not going to have the control
like they used to have.
No question.
If my quarterback just made $7 million on a deal, what? What'd you just say to me? What?
Right. And Rob, real talk, that can be a concern. That am I going to be able to coach these guys? Right. He's making $3 million a year, and he knows he's going to the pros in 7 months. But and I get that. Right. We can talk about it in college basketball, just because they only go 1 year, at least the top blue chippers. We can talk about it AAU, Rob, that guys can't be coached because, they'll transfer to the next program, right? But you know what, Rob? I get that, and that might be unfortunate because I do think kids need to be coached. But, hey, it's the price of doing business.
They can be coached.
What's fair is that they should get a piece of the enormous pie that they are generating. That's it.
100%.
Right? And if a couple things or negatives come to pass because of it, well, you got to deal with it.
And that's happened all the time, Chris. Nothing comes with a manual like when you put in stuff. Free agency in sports. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, free agency, that's good. No, this is going to be bad because when it started in baseball, George Steinbrenner is going to buy up everybody. That was what people were saying. Oh, this is going to be terrible, whatever. Yep. No, everybody didn't get bought up, Chris. It didn't happen.
Just half of them.
Yeah, just half at the time. Right. No, but you know what I mean.
No, right. They haven't won a ring since 2009. So
exactly. Yeah. It ain't that automatic anymore, but I think people are always leery when you start something new, and it usually works itself out, right? After a while, maybe some of these companies and boosters, Chris, see these players aren't worth $3 million. We just gave out $3 million. This guy was a dud. He didn't give us anything. He didn't perform. You think companies are just giving away money?
You know what's also interesting, and again, legitimate, but we're in a capitalistic free market society, and it's the price of doing business. But Rob, let's say some boosters pay a kid a bunch of money and he's a freshman, but he's not getting it done in training camp or whatever, the practices, preseason practices in college, and he doesn't deserve to start. They're not going to be happy. And the coach is like, I don't want them telling me I got to play this kid because they're paying him $1 million.
Right.
But it is, like I said, it's just like in any business, Rob. You might pay a broadcaster a certain amount of money and the ratings don't show. Hey, it is what it is. And you hear it too, Rob, with the kids. Well, they're 18 years old. They're 19 years old. Some of these kids are going to waste the money. Some of these kids aren't going to work as hard at their game. Even Deion brought this up. Some of the kids aren't going to practice as hard and work as hard to get to the pros because they're already being paid like pros to some degree. Some of the kids might use the money and get caught up in something really negative, drugs or whatever. Rob, it's at every level. There are college graduates that do it. How many guys in the NBA or the NFL that played 3 years in college or maybe graduated got mixed up in something crazy?
Absolutely. There's no safeguard, Chris. There's no way of getting around that. Everybody doesn't operate the same way. And then I would say on the flip side, what about the kid who did great for his family, bought his family a home,
right,
and they got a car that maybe they didn't have when he was in high school, or his mom is taken care of, and they're getting medical benefits, like they could go to the doctor now. I mean, we could look at all those other things that people who maybe aren't that well off have struggled with, and now they have a better lifestyle.
Yep.
It doesn't mean everybody doesn't get caught up just because you give them money. And then here's the other thing, and we talked about this before. Go look at people who are professionals, doctors, lawyers, Chris, who don't know how to manage money, who file for bankruptcy, who all kinds of stuff, and they have money and education, and they can't handle money. Bad credit, all that.
The people on Wall Street, Rob, making millions, whose lives are a mess.
Yeah,
a lot of them. Drugs. Rampant. Yep. Drugs are rampant on Wall Street. Family life is a mess. All that. So it's just an excuse, Rob. It's just another excuse. And even with the recklessness, right? Coaches are talking about, look, I yelled at the kid. Now he's in the transfer portal. I can't coach either. Well, how you think the AD feels when you have a contract and you got 5 years left on it, and yet you decide to go coach at another school, right? How many times did that happen, Rob? We just talked about it with Plaxico Burress.
Nick Saban said, stay here, finish what you started, and then he bolted to LSU. Oh, thanks. Thanks, coach. Thanks.
Right. So it's, like I said, it's just an excuse because the college coaches are going to lose some control. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll lose a tad bit of money. It won't be a ton, I don't think, but a tad bit. And the players might become a little more chesty, right? Because they got money under their belt. But speaking of chesty, Rob, Kyler Murray, we know he's gone back and forth with the Cardinals, right? Taking them down
his social media, and all that.
The reports are that he wants to be paid like a top 5 quarterback in the league. He's only played 3 years, Rob. We've seen, look, there's some guys that have been paid after the 3rd year. They get that long extension. A Patrick Mahomes, a Deshaun Watson. That went south for other reasons. But a Josh Allen that have panned out, right? And they were worth it. And then there's others. Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, a running back, Todd Gurley. And I looked at it at the time, particularly Gurley, Rob, and Wentz. I was looking at the time like, why? If I'm a team and I got you locked up for 2 more years, why would I pay you big money after the 3rd year if there's still a little doubt? And if I'm the Cardinals, why would I pay Kyler at this point? And I don't know if he's going to try to make it ugly, Rob, and sit out, but I just don't think it's good business for the Cardinals when there's still questions about him. You know what I'm saying?
Right. He had the terrible playoff game. They collapsed for a 2nd year in a row, Chris, right, where they were off to a good start.
Yep.
and didn't play well. The playoff game was just like
Brutal.
all time brutal. Like just
And he's tiny.
right where you look and go, can this really work? Is this
Right.
going to happen? They were 7-0. They started the season. You remember they were the Cats Meow. That went south, and I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm just not convinced. Like he's not top 5 quarterback money worth. I'm sorry, I just couldn't do it yet.
No.
Have a big year. If he wants to mope or whatever, then you'll really see what kind of guy
Right.
he
That's
is.
not your guy anyway.
Anyway,
Real
if he's going
talk.
to do that, so let him see, play it out. He's under our control, and the difference too, Chris. People could say, "Oh, the Rams shouldn't have paid Jared Goff." The only difference is 2 Pro Bowls, and
Right,
he
at
went to the
least they have
Super
been
Bowl.
to a Super Bowl.
And they went to a Super Bowl. Okay, they didn't win, Chris, but they got to a Super Bowl, and they averaged 35 points a game that year. Okay, so you can look at that and say he's got a couple of things on his resume: 2 Pro Bowls and a Super Bowl appearance.
Yep.
Kyler doesn't have that.
Kyler's got some Pro Bowls, and they've improved, and he's improved every year. I'll give him that. There's just still some questions. That's all there is. You haven't answered all the questions to know if you're our guy going forward. And Rob, for Kyler, to me, this is about one thing. Kyler, who's been banged up, he's played through some injuries, but has been banged up the last couple years. I think, Rob, he's afraid he's going to get hurt. And I think he's trying to lock up the big money now. And here's why I say it. One, because like we said, he has been banged up a bit. But 2, Rob, if Kyler just waits, if he comes out, has a big year, he's going to get more money.
Right.
If
the
he
quarterback
got paid
money
next
doesn't
year,
go down,
right,
it goes up if you play well.
It would be more next year than it would be this year. So to me, Rob, it's not like he's after his 4th year where you can legitimately be like, yo, y'all don't believe in me? You're not paying me? No, it's only 3. So that tells me he's concerned, Rob, about can my body hold up? And I want to make sure I get that money locked in now before something happens. And I'm not really mad at him. I think he needs to play this year, contract or not. But I think he and Lamar need to go have lunch and figure out the happy medium. Because Lamar's like, hey, I don't care about the money, man. I just want a ball. No, Lamar, go get paid, please.
Right.
I'm begging you.
You did win a unanimous MVP.
Right. I'm begging you, Lamar, get your money. And Kyler's like thinking of the money first. So I think they need to find that happy medium. I'm joshing about them getting together. But you know what I'm saying, Rob? Like, you gotta keep the main thing, as they say. And I think Kyler needs to be focused on having a great year. But I think he knows, man, I might not be at the last. So